often, as kingdom people, we do not support our kingdom people. And we need to support our kingdom people. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying not to support them. I'm saying that we need to support them in a way that
And I said that to Mr. Andrews and the others that were there. And today I'm very happy to be the one to come here and to speak at his openness. I think we should give him a very good round of applause for that. I do bring greetings from the Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, the Honorable Odejo Warren, who would have loved to be here but has other commitments at this time. But she does send her endorsement of love, and she would have endorsed everything that I say. And I can say that proudly. She would endorse everything I say in this message. So cycle over 1 year from that conversation, we have already opened another location, and I'm hearing today that you are charged to open 2 more. And with the kind of background that I have noticed, and I too looked at that newsroom video. In fact, when I was leaving to come here, I was jokingly telling the secretary, what should I say at this opening? Because like Timothy said, we are called upon to speak at several openings, so you have to come with something fresh to say each time. So I jokingly asked her, what should I say at this opening? And she said, watch the video? So I said, which video? And immediately she sent me my WhatsApp that newsroom video, and I realized I was the only person in the island that had not seen the video at the time. Because when I went to that video, I'm seeing tens of thousands of views, and maybe 2,000 reactions to that video already. And I looked at that 6-minute interview that you did, which you so passionately and eloquently described your life journey. And your life journey has really been a testimony of a Guyanese youth, of a black man in Guyana, and what you can do when you put God first, when you trust in yourself second, and when you don't allow anyone to stand in your way. So congratulations to you, Mr. Andrews. I listened to that newsroom interview, and I heard he mentioned 10 siblings, so that was the first thing that struck a ball in my mind. I said, what, 10 siblings is small, right? And then secondly, you mentioned that you started off as a clerk. And that really had me thinking, it's not where you start, it's where you end and where you want to go. And even as we're here today opening your second location, you're not to the finish line as yet. Today is International Youth Day, and I know there's some gray in your beard. It's like we might need to get some adjustment, and I hope you have some here at the supermarket. Then you might need to have some adjustment to put a touch up in the beard. You are still a young man, and you're a young man that I am proud of. I have followed your journey as an artist. I live in the Southern Belt area, and I am shocked at your enterprise. So maybe I'm standing at the right place and saying wine, spirit, and beer. I know Daniel mentioned that we might get a a basket to go down the road with, so I think I'm at my location already. But yes, I've followed your journey as an artist, as a businessman, and I've seen how you have been able to be a role model to others. And I think it is time that your message be shared to more persons. You came from Western Belt. We're all aware of the situations of persons in Western Belt, and that's an area where a lot of persons, they don't just need public assistance, but many times they need mentorship. And that is something I believe that you can provide, being someone who came from that area. And not just the Western Belt area, but your message is something that can translate to any person in this country. Timothy is right, access to finance remains a big issue, and it's something we're trying to address, but you have been able to really destroy that barrier that has plagued many businesses, and to be able to access that finance, to be able to open a second location. And I don't just want to charge you to open another Andrew supermarket, but I know you're a man with many ideas. So I'm encouraging you now to venture into other things. In that same interview, you mentioned that you started with an internet cafe, you were in taxi service. I think you mentioned a restaurant as well. We need Andrew's name to resonate among sector and subsectors. Ryan was right. We are in a time where our economy is growing at a rapid rate. We have a lot of expats coming in, a lot of foreigners coming in. Everybody wants a piece of what Guyana has to offer. And for us to offer something to those persons who are accustomed to a standard, you have to have that branding, you have to have that recognizability, you have to have that standard that when they come, they can go confidently to go to those places, and they can even recommend you to others that are coming. So your name is already in the supermarket realm. Build your name in other realms like that. And before I close, I too may want to use the scripture because everybody knows my father is a pastor, right? So I will use a different scripture than the pastor used today. I know they said that this is the day that the Lord has made. But also, it's like all things work together for your good. And it worked together for my good too, because I was going to wear the exact outfit that Psycho had. Thank God I could not find my burgundy jacket. But Psycho, on a more serious note, the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce is very proud of your efforts. We are very happy that 35 families will be impacted. You mentioned that 35 will be the staff count, and we're very happy to add jobs. That is something we're working to do every day. So any way that we can help and create a conducive environment for more businesses to develop, for more jobs to be added to the economy, that is what we're all about. So we're very happy to celebrate with you. We know that it's not just 35 persons that are going to be affected from those jobs that you will create, but it's 35 families. Because those same individuals, they have their families, they have their own situations, and they are able to impact others around them. So you are building not just 35 persons, but the persons that they will touch. So there's a multiple of that 35 that you are touching, and multiple of that. So in closing, I want to recognize you and I want to recognize your wife, because finally, in that newsroom interview, you mentioned your wife more than you mentioned yourself, which probably leads me to think that she is the real brain behind this thing. In the beginning, she was the one to actually push you to get the shows and everything else, right? So she has been a pioneer, and that brings me to one point. Partnership is important. Many times we don't even want to partner with our own family, but you have made your wife your premier partner, even in business. So I want to congratulate you for that. And many times women entrepreneurs are the ones that are leading the game, and men sometimes are just fronting it and putting up the face, right? But she has been the one to lead you, and you have found favor by having her. So even as you enter into another operation today, I not only congratulate you, but I also pray and I hope that this business is profitable for you and that your family can be affected, your extended family, the entire community, and those in Central Georgetown will support this business. Congratulations, Saifu and family.
Thank you so much.
All right, so great speech. I like that. You kept us laughing, kept us going. At this time, guys, we will be hearing from someone that, of course, this still could not have happened without. We'll hear from Mr. Saiku, mom, who would like to say something to her son. Ms. Vera, I'll bring it over to you.
Well, today, I thank God. I thank God for my son. And I thank God for a blessed day today. Father God, you know him by the name and the secret number. I ask you, Lord, that you will continue to bless him and keep him and make your light to shine upon him, Lord. He's a child of many faith. Faith is him. There's 10 of them made, but one gone and 9 left. And I always pray day and night that God will cover you. You're going out and you're coming in, you're going from children. And continue to shine the chicken light upon you. Bless him, eyes, his feet, and higher ground. In Jesus' mighty name. And I would like to say this one psalm. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, but standing in the way of sinners, and sinners seats is scornful. But his delight is in the Lord. In his Lord does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the water that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaves will not wither out. But whatever he do, he shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but like the shaft of the wind drive it away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, but stand in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Thank you, Lord, for my son. I love you, son. I thank God for all my children. Bless the going out and the coming in. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. So I know we all have been waiting as you guys are sitting. We will hear from Mr. Andrews himself, and then of course we will have the ribbon cutting ceremony, which will be done on the outside, okay? So Mr. Andrews, I'm asking you to please come up and bless us even more. Big round of applause.
Thank you, everybody. Special invitees, media, Mr. Daniel C. Brown, Regional Chair, Mr. Timothy Tucker, President of GCC, Mr. Ryan Alexander, Ms. Sarita, thank you very much. Mr. Eje, thank you. What must I say? To be honest, I've had no time to even go on my phone to prepare a speech. So I'll speak to you from my heart, because that's the best place, right? How did we start? I'm going to tell you the story again. We were importing products. We got some help. We were able to buy a building in South. We renovated, and we were importing products. First container, one item. And it was there sitting, and we're getting picked to go sell it. And one day, the carpenter guy came and started knocking the shelf on the wall. And I realized, wait, is sugar and salt is that telling me? And Andrew's Supermarket started to add wood shelf after wooden shelf. Then we started to invest in the shelves that come not from North America, but from Asia. Because they are more costly, they're more cost effective. And so Andrew's Supermarket became full blown. My wife and I, we would sit sometimes and we would, just start talking about what we want to do. And one of the things we said, you know what? If we're going to ever put our name out there, it must be that once we try that and we do it, it has to be out there. It has to be an household name. But it's not that it's going to be there as an household name for fashion or style, but it must mean something. So when we talk at Andrew's Supermarket, you could ask the staff, we said, listen, people come into our environment, right? And they have issues.
husbands stressed by their wives, wives stressed by their husbands, people, having a whole ton of issues. But whenever they come to Andrew's Supermarket, we must be the place that they could say, you know what, hey, they've given me a light moment, and I can now recuperate and go out there and face the world. You understand? So that's where Andrew's Supermarket started, right? So we have a vision that we're going to do this and we're going to do it well. Sometimes when we would call companies and say, we want this software and we want this feature and that feature, they would say to us, they would say to me rather, but we've done many other supermarkets that are owned by families and they've never asked for these things. Because the vision was this, and it simply remains this, that no matter the space we're operating, we're always thinking about our capacity, so that whenever the moment comes for us to expand, we have that capacity. And that simple mantra, that simple decision, that is what has allowed us to take on Andrew's Supermarket, Rob Street. So, guys, we've not done this in isolation. We've had families praying for us, people that we don't know have been calling us to encourage us. And it has gotten to a point, and I must say this, that sometimes you lie at night when you're talking, and there's this weight, you feel this weight. You talk about glass ceiling, but most of the time we celebrate women with that because they're the ones facing a whole lot of challenge in business. But there's this weight on you because, listen, I'm from West Van Belt. I'm Afro-Guyanese. We know, you understand, we know what the perception is. We know what the challenges is. And I'm talking about this from the perspective of Afro-Guyanese themselves limiting themselves because of the things that they've heard and they've allowed to have and they've allowed themselves to believe. So there's this burden that comes over you that it's like, there's so much riding on this. You have to do this well. You have to be successful. For the little guy from Western Belt coming up, that he must be able to look and say, hey, if Saiku could have done it, fatherless, no words moving out, grit, discipline, humility, and an ability to say, I need help. Right? So you have that burden, and it's a burden that I'm willing to bear for the sake. There's a favorite book, that one of my favorite books by Mr. Bryant, it says, Up from Nothing. And he talked about the whole issue of us believing that race is the biggest challenge or the biggest determinant to our lack of success. But all we need to do is just to expand our circle. So I really need to touch on this topic. I know we're talking about the supermarket opening, but I really need to touch on this topic. Listen, if you're listening to me, maybe live, share this with somebody. Listen, break the barrier by changing your own mindset. People will approach you, they will have preconceived ideas and notions about you. It is your responsibility to bring them in and destroy it and move on with your life. Trust me, I've done it. And you can do it too. So we set out today at this location to employ between 30 to 35 persons. They all didn't come with a degree. They don't have to come with a degree. They don't have to be Afro-Guyanese. They don't have to be Indo-Guyanese. They have to be Guyanese. That is what this is about more than anything else, right? And so we're stepping out here to offer you a service that we want to push and say it would be unmatched. Maybe we might be unmatched in some other areas. No fault of ours, but we can tell you this. We're going to push to have this service that is top quality. My wife said to me, so I couldn't beg you for one thing today. I said, what? She said, the anointing, please do not call me to say anything. I think that's one of the reasons, we should deliberately decide, hey, you know what, I gotta roll a leave because you can't. But listen, Mrs. Andrews, I just want to see Toysha, Taiwo, thank you very much for your love, your patience, your support for my vision. I would rattle out all of these visions. She's like, oh God, Lorraine, you've done and give this family a great body. Someone is something big, you just gone to the next. Thank you very much for not being a smoke in my wheel, but rather being the wind beneath my wings. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Auntie Pam. Rose, this is my sister. This is the one that and I'm gonna say that this is the one of those key moments, when we started our internet cafe. She was very instrumental in helping us to get out the ground. And even at this place, I could always call on her and say, hey, you know what? And she would say, I got you. And so I really want to say thank you to yourself and your family. Everybody else that I'm here, my suppliers, the biggest to the smallest, the foreigners to the locals, thank you very much for believing in the vision. Thank you very much for buying it and supporting us. To my banker, is he here? Yes, Mr. Subrin from Scotiabank, thank you very much for your support. He's been unwavering, he's been encouraging. We all have challenges, but he's always been saying, hey, you got this, you got this, you got this. And so I really want to say thank you for everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thank you guys again. My thing is about saying thank you, right? So thank you very much. Whatever's left to do, we will do it. My aunt is trying to tell me to sing some song. What is that? What shall I render to Jehovah? For he has done so very much for me. What shall I render to Jehovah? For he has done so very much for me. Thank you very much.
Come on, guys, give it up again. Amazing, amazing, amen. At this time, we will have the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then, of course, the doors will be open to the public. Thanks, everyone, for coming out today. So we'll ask that the family can join Mr. Saiku Andrews on the outside for the cutting of the ribbon. And also the key stakeholders. Everyone else, we could stay inside until everyone comes back in, right? So I ask that the family members and the key stakeholders join Mr. Andrew and family on the outside. Yes, and the media, please. Next time the media, join them on the outside as well. That's that everyone else remain inside. Enjoy the music and you can have some refreshment in the meantime. Just a reminder to everyone, as we are celebrating, there are cocktails in the back as well as refreshments as you are inside. So please join the back if you would like cocktails as well as refreshments, all right?
People just watch.